Mhm.
There's Butch.
Hey,
Hey, buddy. What's going on?
well, I'm sitting here in a hotel room on Jekyll, and had a good night last night. Went out with Miss Nina, and my wife and I had a good seafood dinner, and we're just sort of kicking back, behaving ourselves.
Must be nice.
Well, it's always nice when you behave.
Things alive now.
They were heading in security with some signs. I'm damn disappointed. I haven't made somebody mad. I'm like failed.
I know. It's very apropos.
State Board of Education meeting for Thursday, June 17th, 2021, and we're calling the Committee of the Whole to order. And before I do, I'd love to recognize some people that we have in our audience. We have Lisa Morgan and Joe Fleming with the Georgia Association of Educators. Thank you very much for being here. We also have a friend and neighbor, Tina Emberg, as well as Megan Swingle with Decoding Dyslexia. Thank you. I know that you've all been to several meetings here. Thank you very much for being here today. Dr. Barbara Wall is here, and she is the leader for the Georgia Department of Education Ctae program. Dr. Wall, thank you so much for being here. And as well as we have Keith Osborne, who is the Deputy Superintendent of IT for the Georgia Department of Education. Thank you so much for being here as well. I'm going to turn this over to my friend and colleague, Mr. Mike Royal, for our inspiration and pledge to the flag.
Good morning. I was thinking back when Scott asked to do the inspiration yesterday. We were coming in, I was reflecting, going home. I think this, I don't know, 5th or 6th time I've done it, but I was thinking about how far we've come and what's happened and transpired in the state of Georgia with education over those years and the time on the board. And I was thinking about where we are, not even just in the city of Atlanta, with so much strife and so much conflict, but even where we are as a state and a nation. And I thought about a letter that a friend of mine shared with me on Memorial Day. And being just off the heels of Memorial Day and where we are, I thought it was very appropriate to read this letter that he shared. It's from a friend of his, and it's a friend of his that lost his brother in the Vietnam War. But he wrote a letter about where we are and what we're going through right now today. And I thought I'd share with it edited it down just a little bit for content, but it was written by Robert J. Sutter. On this Memorial Day and every Memorial Day since 1967, my family stops to pay tribute to our brother, Corporal Richard F. Sutter, U.S. Marine Corps. Richard was killed while returning fire in an ambush just 10 days short of coming home from 13 months of combat in Vietnam. Those of us that served any branch of the armed forces, and especially those in Vietnam era, appreciate folks thinking of our service, but the day for that is Veterans Day in November. Every person who ever wore the military uniform signed a blank check, up to and including their very lives. Memorial Day is intended to recognize those who cashed that check for the freedom each of us enjoys. This Memorial Day weekend, however, poses an opportunity to highlight a simple truth about our country. This is the greatest country on the planet. As people, we have had some serious moral failings in the past, as has every other country. But as a nation, we are exceptional. We have done more to offer freedom to more people than any other nation on earth. If this were not true, people wouldn't be traveling in caravans to come here. In the past several years, forces have been at work to divide our nation into tribal groups based upon our skin color, country of origin, faith, sex, political persuasion. They seek to teach our children and grandchildren that the American dream is a myth. And all this acrimony and self-recrimination wages on. The men and women of our armed forces serve side by side with every race, sexual orientation, religious belief or none, and political affiliation. It matters not to them what country their fellow service member came from, because each is united in their common service to America. Perhaps we could tone down our anger, vitriol, and rhetoric to emulate their example. We have way more in common with each other than whatever identity divides us. E pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. As we start our summer, let us consider this day not a time to get a good deal on a sofa or a new car, or but as a time to host a toast and salute all the men and women who have stepped up, served with integrity and valor, and gave our nation their last true measure of devotion. Rest easy, my brother. We will see you again. God bless America. Semper Fidelis, always faithful. And I thought that's just very appropriate. And even considering where we are as a board and the discussions, what I thought were very good discussions among board members last week. Let's concentrate on what we have in common and the goals and the children that we serve and the 1.8 million kids and many of the faces that we will never see. But it is our job to help provide a better opportunity for them to reach their American dream. And with that, yesterday was my birthday, and thanks for and somebody sent me a great thing. Mark Twain said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why." Let's help those kids find out why. And I would be remiss in not talking about somebody who I know what her why was, who's not with us. Dr. Faya Paul, a member of this department. Any of you that those of you that didn't get to know her personally, that's your loss. Because her why was to serve the children in Georgia and to make it a better place for them and to give them their best opportunity to be successful. And with that, I want to close with that. But everybody, please just remember your why you're here, and what unites us is way more powerful than what divides us. And with that, if you'd like to join us in prayer, please do. If you want to use it for a moment of silence, that's fine also. But I want to start with our Heavenly Father. You tell us that those who get wisdom love life, that it is better to get wisdom than gold, and that those who get wisdom find life and receive favor from the Lord. And if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. You also say, whoever claims to love God, yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister, whom they have seen, cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. I pray, Lord, that you would give us the wisdom we need to serve your will and serve your work and serve the children in the state of Georgia, and that you would bless us and continue to guide us. And in your name we pray. Amen. You'll stand with me to pledge. I'll say appropriately to the left. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roland. Really appreciate your comments and your inspiration today. Thank you very much for doing that. All right, we have several members for the State Board of Education that are joining us virtually today. I just want to acknowledge that the people present here in the room are Kenneth Mason, Leonte Benton, Lisa Kinnamore, Scott Johnson, Mike Royal, Helen Rice, Martha Zoller, and we also have our Teacher of the Year, ex officio member Tracy Penley, with us today. And then online, I'm just going to call the following names, and if you're here, please signify by saying present. Dr. Mosley?
Present.
Dr. DeJarnett?
Present.
Fenna Petty?
Present.
Jason Downey?
Present.
Matt Dollar? I'm sorry, Matt Donaldson. I have a state representative, Matt Dollar, I'm sorry. Matt Donaldson?
Matt Donaldson is present.
And then Mike Long? Mike Long. Okay, so we have 13 members and our Teacher of the Year ex officio member, Tracy Penley, with us today. At this moment in time, I'm going to go ahead and call on each of the respective committee members. And today, we are going to go with the people that are present here. So first of all, I'm going to turn to Mr. Mike Royal regarding the Budget Committee items.
Mr. Chair, the Budget Committee is happy to move forward under E, Budget Committee items number 1 through and including 29, all for action and consent.
Thank you very much. Now we'll turn to Rules Committee items, and I'm going to call on Ms. Helen Rice.
Mr. Chair, Rules would like to move items 1 through 8 to consent.
And that is all items for Rules, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Kenneth Mason, I'll call on you now for charter schools and district flexibility.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move items 1 through 7 from Charter Schools and Flexibility Committee for action and consent.
Thank you. And that is all of the items. All right, thank you so much. And then Ms. Lisa Kinnamore, with regard to executive session items.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a recommendation to move the following to the consent agenda. The individual student waivers, minutes of the May 12th, 13th, 2021 State Board meeting, minutes of the May 12th, 2021 executive session meeting, the minutes of the June 3rd, 2021 call board meeting, and the June 2021 personnel report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions regarding the movement of those items? Okay, hearing none, we'll move those to the consent agenda as well. I'm going to turn this over to the superintendent with regard to remembrance.
Again, I'll just kind of follow up on Mr. Roll's comments. Of course, this week we did lose Dr. Faya Paul, and very unexpectedly. She was actually in a Teams meeting with some of her staff when she did have a medical situation, and unfortunately passed away shortly thereof. She will be having will be having services tomorrow, I think at Maynard Jackson High School, where both her and Dr. Stephanie Johnson both served for many years. Knowing Faya, like I said, a tremendous lady. She will be hard to replace. I think to know her, she was kind of that stabilizing and calm voice. Very organized, very dedicated, and I think even to her last, serving the kids of the state of Georgia. I think such an admirable dedication of what I've known and what she has been able to accomplish. And I think that, to our staff, again, my condolences to those. I know we are having, obviously some tough times within that, but, we'll make it through. I think Dr. Paul, if she was here, said the mission continues to go on. That was her. That was who she was about. And it was making every day, and especially in the area of school improvement, then, she worked with some of the most struggling and those that, faced a lot of issues to try to get them up. And so she took on a great challenge. And even you think about where some of the schools that she worked at, Title I schools in the areas that were, had to have, somebody that really knew what they did, somebody that had a passion for these kids, and just recognizing that every child can succeed. And that was Faya. Like I said, she always had a great smile about her. That was something I always noticed. Even a nice wit about her as well. And she could make any situation seem like it's going to be okay. And I just continue to ask for your prayers for first of all her family. I think she does have a school-age child, and so that's going to be tough. For that young lady, and a husband and a mother and other family members, but also for our members up here at the DOE. It's tough when you lose someone, and especially in such a way that we're having to deal with. But I just did want to acknowledge Faya, great lady. I could, if I could clone someone and say I wish I had a DOE full of individuals, it would be Faya. So again, just remember her and her family during this time, and colleagues and friends, of which she had many. And so, I just wanted to say thank Faya just for her work that she was able to accomplish. So again, just remember us as a family, and like I said, we've lost a great one in the state. But now it's up for us to live up to her commitment and to make sure that her legacy continues on and doesn't stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Scott, I'd just like to say, Richard, for those of us that got to work with her and know her, and she will be so greatly missed. And what you and Mike said, it's just puts it in the whole nugget of who she was. And I'm so glad that I had the privilege of knowing her and being around her and working with her, because she was a great collaborator. That she worked, we'd go to Americas and all over, and she was there, just in there with the kids, and she's going to be greatly missed, greatly missed.
One of the things, Mike, during your inspiration, you talked about the why. And it was very, very evident that Faya actually had the why. And she worked in one of the most critical areas, which is school improvement. And particularly, with those areas and those school districts and schools that have the most significant challenges. And so when somebody like that has that experience is no longer with us, it is a great, great loss. I'm very, very sorry to hear about her passing. Any other comments? Okay. All right, this concludes the committee of the whole, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to recess, and I'm going to recess for 15 minutes today. We're going to recess for 15 minutes to go ahead and get the agenda put together, and then we'll come back after 15 minutes. Thank you. We stand in recess.
There's pants right there. It'll take the belt out. I'll put the belt in my suitcase and hang the pants up.
Board,
Hey, Keith, I've been in a meeting and I saw where I lost stuff.
and during the recess, can we mute the people that are online? Thank you. everyone. And are the board members still online? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Adjourn it here. Yeah, Jason Downey here. Matt Donaldson here.
All right, thank you
Jenna
all.
Petty here.
Thank you. Mike Long, have you joined us? All right. Right, before you, members of the board, you have, excuse me, you have the agenda. And has everybody had an opportunity to review the agenda? If you're online, please mute your microphone. If you're online, please mute your microphone. We're hearing a lot of background conversation. All right, has everybody had an opportunity to review the agenda? All right, are there any questions, comments, or anything regarding the agenda? All right, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I have a first from Ms. Zoller. Is there a second? I have a second from Ms. Kinnemore. Any questions or comments regarding the agenda? Hearing none, the chair will call for a roll call vote. And I'm going to start with the members that are online. This is for the approval of the agenda. Dr. Mosley, how do you vote? Dr. Mosley.
You're still on mute.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. DeJarnett?
Approved.
Ms. Petty?
Approved.
Mr. Downey?
Approved.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnemore?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Royal?
Yes.
Ms. Rice? Ms. Zoller?
Yes.
All right, the vote is unanimous. Thank you all very much. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a first? I have a first from Mr. Royal.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Mason. Any questions or comments, or is anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda for a separate vote? All right, hearing none, the chair will now call for a roll call vote. This is the approval of the consent agenda. Dr. Mosley?
Yes.
Dr. DeJarnett? Dr. DeJarnett?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ms. Petty?
Yes.
Mr. Downey?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Ms. Kinnemore?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Royal?
Yes.
Ms. Rice? Ms. Zoller?
Yes.
It is unanimous. The motion carries. That concludes the action items that we have for the day. And at this time, the chair will open for any comments or any further discussion that board members would like to have.
Just as a point of personal privilege, is this the right time for that? Okay, I know many of us know and have worked with Trey Paris, and his daughter passed away earlier this week, Eliza Paris Harrison. She was 28 years old after a battle with cancer. And we've talked about this many times throughout the pandemic, and it's something that's really on my heart, is that while she was diagnosed with cancer before the pandemic did impact the care she got, and she got COVID during that time. You know, remember there's other things out there besides COVID, and that your health, diagnoses of second, third, and fourth stage cancer are way up this year. Please, think of yourself, think about those things. And she was a great advocate for that issue in the very short time that she had in her life. And so I just want to remember her and her family and, send our best wishes.
All right.
Scott, I have one too. For those of us that served with Wanda Barge for so many years, she chaired this board for 10 years. Earl's mother,
Is your mic on? Yeah, it's on.
Earl's mother, Mrs. Barge, died on Monday of this week, and I think it will just keep Wanda. I think the funeral was yesterday, and Earl and Wanda and their family in our prayers too. So, and also, are we going to have any other conversation?
Just a minute. I think I'm going to come back to you in just a minute. I think I know
Okay.
what you want to talk about. Mike?
I do want to recognize a positive. Congratulations to him. We have an employee retirement. We got to the noticed an executive session of his retirement. I jokingly texted him during that and said I was voting no. But Mike Roland is retiring into this month, and many of you know him. Again, going back to what I was talking, the day you were born and the day you figure out why. His why was kids as well. He served both sides, and out in the field as a principal, as a school leader, and a DOE leader, and here. And he helped me a lot. He helped me more than he will ever know, understand the business and the buildings and the bricks and the why even related to that, which is very important as well. But his heart for kids has always been there, and we wish him the best in retirement. And I expect his handicap is going to be going lower now, but wish him the best, and thank you to him for his career and service to the state of Georgia and our kids.
All right, thank you.
Actually, I wanted to just acknowledge, while Dr. Wall is here, because I know she has to leave at 10, I was privileged to go to Callaway Gardens because Lead, Ctae, was over there, and of course that's in my district, and just to welcome the group of 21 participants that were there. And Lead stands for Leadership, Explore, Advocacy, and Development. And I can tell you that at that meeting, this group of teachers and counselors got together, and they discussed everything from business to economic development to the importance of what Ctae does, not just in their school, how important they are, but in their community. They did team building, all those things that to make themselves stronger and more effective in the classroom. And there were a number of things, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. I don't know if y'all even knew that there was a Lead Ctae, and that there were 180 applicants last year. Obviously, COVID came, and this group has spent 2 years in doing there were 5 programs that take place over the year. So, but their energy of the teachers there and the counselors and they were like sponges, I told Barbara, in what they were just absorbing. And that was their why, because they have an interest in kids and want to do the best in their role as teachers and counselors. So if you don't know about Lead Ctae, I hope I've just given you a little capsule of what that is.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that we receive from the CTAE programs is the brag sheets. So each member in their respective congressional districts receives a report of the amazing accomplishments by specific students within the areas. And there was a little bit of a disclaimer that came with the most recent report, and that disclaimer is that due to the pandemic, there was a real drop-off. I think the CTAE programs are amazing. There's a lot of different ways to learn today. And I'm delighted to see the direction that the state is going in this regard with unique pathways, and you're seeing some amazing developments. We saw that with the retreat that we had when we had an opportunity to visit the Marietta College and Career Academy, as well as Ctae, the Cobb County Innovation and Technology Academy, and like-kind developments that have occurred across the state. So I think we're going to be seeing more of this. They're amazing programs, amazing facilities, and that CTAE program is just incredible. All right. Lisa?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Dr. Mosley.
Let me speak just for a second on behalf of my 3 cohorts that are here with us at Jekyll. We had the opportunity to participate in a panel yesterday with 5 different RESAs, which there were hundreds of key staff members as well as superintendents from 5 RESAs. And not only was this a first, that they indicated a state board member had taken the time to participate in one of their meetings, although I'm sure anybody would have participated if they had been invited. But we were well received, and I think offered some really good input and good feedback as to what we're all about and what's going on. And I defer to Ms. Petty and any others that would like to make a comment now.
Ms. Petty, Dr. DeJarnett, anybody else care to make any comments?
This is Stan. I'd second what Butch said. It was great to have the opportunity to hear from all these folks down here in this part of the state. We made a list of some of their comments and concerns, and we'll be sharing those very soon with the rest of the board and DOE staff. But it was a nice opportunity for us to hear from them and from them to hear from us, and I welcomed an opportunity to come back and do it again. It was a great meeting for us yesterday.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Petty, any comments?
It was great, and they were very gracious to us. And if anyone has the opportunity again in the future, I would recommend it very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Benton, Mr. Mason, any comments you care to share?
Not for me.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Downey.
I did want to recognize Mr. Charles Gibson, Chuck Gibson, is the outgoing superintendent here in Jones County, my home county. He's been superintendent for the past 6 years, and he retired at the end of May. He's been in Jones County for a number of years. Prior to that, he was principal and assistant principal and a teacher at the high school here. And everybody here in Jones County just thinks the world of Chuck, and we're going to miss him here. We have a new superintendent, Chip Lundy, who just started 1st of June, and so we're excited about that and new beginnings and new changes in Jones County. But I wanted to give a shout out to Chuck and tell the state how appreciative we are for everything he's done here in Jones County. I know that sometimes the small counties, the small systems get overlooked sometimes, and there are some great things going on in the smaller systems, and we just need to keep that in mind. And with leaders like Chuck Gibson, they will continue to flourish.
Thank you very much, Mr. Downey.
Dr. Wall?
Yes.
Could you refresh my memory? What's the graduation rate for CTAE participants?
Come on up.
97.8%, I think, but I'm
Okay.
not absolutely positive.
You are correct. I just wanted to just let you say so. So again, I just saying thank you again, and I think showing the strength of the CTA program in the state, and this is why it's so crucial to get students involved.
She wasn't mic'd. I don't know that people heard the number.
So, yeah, just go up to the podium, just kind of lay out that percent again if you're involved. What's the graduation rate again?
97.8%.
Yeah, okay, so that's quite impressive. But again, thank you for what you do. And anything you want to say about CTA right now? What's going on?
CTAE delivers.
Okay, there we go. All right.
We've got some great students, great support from many different people. Career Tech would not be the program that it is without the support that we have from our leaders here at the department, including our board members, our superintendent, chief of staff, and all these fine folks. Business and industry's been good to us, work well with us, and we need lots of folks to have good, strong programs. So thanks for your support.
Thank you, Dr. Wall.
All right, thank you, Dr. Walt. Excuse me. With my colleagues and Ms. Rice, Ms. Kennemore, and Mr. Mason, and this is with regard to math standards. So we all know that these are going to be up for adoption here really quick. And one of the things about the conversation that we spoke about was red line versions of where the standards are today versus where they will ultimately be, and so we can actually see a comparison. So I've talked with the superintendent about that. Additionally, modifications that may have occurred since the Macon meeting and so forth. So Superintendent, I'd like to turn it over to you just to kind of get an update on the process and where we are.
I think we're hopefully coming towards the end. I know Ms. Kennemore was down in Macon. I thought that was a good meeting, trying to continue to hear more input from teachers across the state, and I think that went well. This week, I believe you received some of the feedback that came out. It took a little bit to go through, so if you haven't, I think maybe check your DOE email. I think that's where the mechanism we put that. And our intent is, I think we have kind of a polishing meeting tomorrow with Dr. Dooley and Ms. Snell, and just to kind of go over some things to make sure that we're, seeing that we're getting the reflection that we saw from the input from the field and all the survey that took place. So hopefully if all goes well within the next week, week and a half at the latest, you'll have the red line versions, and we're trying to give you at least a month ahead of time to look through everything. And if you have any concerns, reach out before we even, start to look at the posting next month. Okay? And that's where we're at.
And Richard, are you okay if we kind of have our other teachers kind of look at it like we
Certainly,
did before?
yeah. I think once you get it, you're free
Okay.
to get input and look at it, so, please do.
All right. I guess the other thing that I just wanted to ask, where is our timeline once we post this? What's going to happen with English language arts? Are we starting that, or where are we going with that? Do we know yet?
Well, I think that once we we'll begin to look at the process of revising the standards. So that will probably take some time this year with that. I don't know if I have a set date with that. Right now, just trying to focus on getting math done and making sure that it's where it needs to be. And so I think we're, once we finish that, we'll probably have a better idea about the timeline. But I would think sometime during this course of the year, we'll start the process. I don't think it will be towards the beginning. I think schools need to have time to get back and doing. So at earliest, I would probably think it would be October or November we start that process.
And when we post these math standards in July, is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm hoping,
Uh-huh.
yes. Yeah, if all goes well, then that's the intent right now.
And are we thinking of starting up with professional learning in?
This upcoming year, I think we are. I'm trying to, I have been talking with some people out there. I just want to make sure that we don't overload teachers as we start this new year. Fortunately, the impact of COVID-19 did not stop at the end of this year. And so we're having discussions. I've reached out to some folks and just kind of think, okay, what does this look like? I have talked with the team. And they feel that perhaps some of the professional learning would actually help, during this time. So we're having those discussions right now, and we'll make some determination once we know for certain that we're going to have these standards out and about.
And when we do come back in July to talk about the standards, are we going to get sort of a review of what the changes were made?
Yeah, you should see the red line version. You'll have a direct comparison of what we have now and what we don't. We can look at, I think it's been a suggestion to seeing what made or what the making, look like. But you'll be able to see everything
Okay.
once you have that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions? All right, well, I thank everybody for your participation today, and if there is no other comments or questions, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved. I have a motion from Mr. Johnson, a second from Ms. Kennemore. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.